Hi you guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is part 2, so if you haven't seen part 1, make sure you go check it out. Alright, any continuing messages for this collective regarding part 1? Is there any more messages? Okay, some of you guys may come into new connections as well because you're putting your foot down, right? Some of you guys could have decided to be a single parent, or maybe you were forced to be, right? Maybe some people, they weren't healthy enough for you or your child. Maybe intuitively you feel like you had to break up with this individual. Some of y'all, you probably had people who wanted to be around. Some of y'all had people who abandoned you, right? But you have responsibilities now, and I feel like this has a lot to do with your self-respect and self-love and the responsibility that you have as a mother or father, just apply how it fits. So that could be what you're experiencing. Maybe you're already a single parent. Maybe some of you guys are newly single parents. Like you could be pregnant and deciding to do the pregnancy alone. All right. I feel like you had dealt with a shapeshifter, right? Snake. And I'm getting this person had many layers of them because I'm thinking of like shedding of skin, right? This person could have mimicked you in some type of way. They probably try to mimic how you come off, whether it's you say that you're hurt from the connection. Now they're saying, I'm hurt from the connection. You're saying, oh, I feel disrespected, this is wrong. And they're saying, no, I feel disrespected, this is wrong. Just switching it around. I can't really think of the term right now. But this can also just be them mimicking a divine masculine or a divine feminine, right? Somebody trying to impersonate an energy that they're not. So having on a false mask, shape-shifting into something that they're not, right? Some of you guys can also have the snake Chinese zodiac sign. All right, I need you guys to believe in right timing, okay? Whatever is going on, believe in right timing. Everything is happening in divine timing. Any more messages for the collective? Any new love, honey? So I feel like some of you guys could have compromised and apologized to these individuals because maybe you have just big hearts. Maybe you've seen a message that you listened to and you were like, yeah, you know what? Sorry, just received a text. But it says I'm sorry and an apology is here. And it also has compromise and making changes. So I feel like some of you guys, you let these people come in and apologize to you and you just compromise. You was like, okay, they apologize, I'm gonna let them back in my life. When someone apologizes, forgiven doesn't necessarily mean you let them back in your life. Because a lot of these people, they do things in a selfish way, whether they know it or not. See, when people see that they no longer can have access to you and they miss you sexually, emotionally, mentally, the things that you were doing for them, a lot of times that affects them because they're like, man, I don't want this person to do this with anybody else. I don't want this person to, walk away from me so much that they fall out of love with me. I miss this person. I feel alone. A lot of these things are selfish because I guarantee you, if you were the one that hurt this individual, you would understand why they no longer want to talk to you, and you would allow that to happen because you're like, well, I messed up, I don't even blame them, right? These people, they don't do that. So I actually don't feel sorry for any of them, and neither should you, because I feel like sometimes you just get into feeling sorry for them, or you love them so much, and maybe you have this certain belief system that, well, they apologized, or whatever the case may be. But I promise you, not everybody means that apology. And sometimes when people apologize, it doesn't necessarily mean that the behavior is going to change, right? And like I said, going back to you guys, you may have apologized to these individuals, right? I don't know why. Maybe it's just because you still have love for them. You still have unfinished business with them, right? Because sometimes you start doing things that are lowering your standards, right? When you have attachments to individuals. I feel like that's why you guys are probably coming into the energy of detachment, or you soon will be. Maybe that's the lesson here. I'm seeing gambling, taking a chance. And then we have fears and afraid. I feel like you guys were afraid of certain things. Maybe this person triggered you in some type of way to make you feel afraid of continuing the connection, but maybe you took a chance on them. You gambled, right, with your life, with your heart, with your womb, and maybe some of you guys effed around and found out. Okay, I feel like some of you guys also need to step outside of your comfort zone. Some of you guys are probably like, oh, I don't want love anymore. Maybe some of you guys are like so desperate to get into love connections that you're willing to connect with any and everyone. But regardless of how this fits towards you, take risk to an extent, right? Fears, false evidence appearing real, right? Keep that in mind. But a lot of times, if your intuition is telling you something, that's not fear, right? That's your inner knowing, okay? And a lot of times, what's more spiritually connected, and it helps you navigate through this 3D plane, is something that you should really take into consideration. Because sometimes with the human beings and their matrix lifestyle and mindsets, outdated thinking, programming, sometimes we miss the things that are really in our face, and our third eye sees it a lot. Okay, it's clear as day. You see how that filter moved on it's clear as day. These people know what they're doing though. And I feel like some of these people could be the one that's trying to gamble and take a chance, like, you know, I'm gonna still try to give this a try. They may shut me down, but it's like they pick and choose when to drop that ego. You know, that don't make sense. Let's see, anything about new love, true love. Okay, I feel like some of you guys, the focus is you right now, especially if it hasn't been at least a year, or at least you healed enough to be able to move forward from a person. I feel like right now the best thing to do is just focus on yourself, because basically the next person you connect with will probably be a rebound, right? I'm not saying isolate, don't talk, don't connect, but maybe get yourself friends. You know, maybe romance right now is just not the I mean, what's the rush, right? It's no rush to get married and have kids and all these things. It's a beautiful thing, and that's going to happen in divine timing, right? You don't force these things, you don't rush these things. That's how you always end up falling straight on your face and learning a hard lesson, right? So my thing is travel, experience new things, you know, get to know yourself. I feel like you're experiencing like a spiritual awakening, especially when you're in your own space and nobody else's energy is interfering with you, mind, body, and soul wise. So that's when you're able to actually realize a lot about you and the outside world. Okay, but I do feel like meeting this person was supposed to happen, and I also feel like you're going to meet another person, and that's going to be a fated meeting as well. All right, some of you guys, you got your heart broken. I'm not saying that you're bound to get your heart broken and that was supposed to happen, but sometimes with our own free will and with us overstaying our welcome in connections, sometimes we just got to learn that lesson, right? If you knew better, you would do better. So sometimes we just got to gain that wisdom, right? I am seeing soulmate here. Friends and influences, intuition and inner knowing. I feel like you would know who's meant to stick around and who's not, even when it comes to platonic or romantic connections. I feel like you will know if somebody is your soulmate or not, because you know how sometimes people be like, oh my gosh, I wonder if this is my soulmate. That I feel like you honestly would know, because it's something spiritual, right? I feel like it will be I feel like you will know. You will literally know. So whoever this individual is, this is most definitely going to be some type of new love connection. For some of you guys, maybe it's going to be someone from your past who's going to grow and evolve, and by the time you guys reconnect, you're going to be more stable and able to get into union than you were when you probably met them, right? But for others of you guys, this is most definitely going to be new love. You never met this person, maybe you connected with them in a past life, but yeah, look, divine intervention. Your divine spiritual team has stepped in, because they're saying, look, it's time for reflection, right? So get your journals out, heal. All right, somebody unsending messages, but I'm seeing a marriage, somebody ghosting someone. I'm seeing somebody partying and having fun. You got a secret admirer. Honey, I can't go no more. The video about to end, but this is the last part of this video. Take care.